Hello, what up? It's on your movie Madman, and I'm back. And today I've got a 4K Blu-ray, obviously, to show you. So I can tell you're excited because this one's going to slap you in the face. Because today we're going to talk about Gemini Man.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I have one reason, and one reason only, that I bought this film. Mainly because I found out that apparently, allegedly, this is the only 4K Blu-ray that you can watch in high frame rate. So I was like, I would like to see what that looks like on a 4K TV, watching a film in high frame rate as well. I mean, I did see this in the cinema, and you know, it was all right. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't the worst film I've ever seen in my life. Starring Mr. Will Smith here, twice. There's two of him in this one. There's an older version and a cloned younger version, or something like that. I don't really remember. There's a back cover as well, and it's a nice slip too. So we're gonna get the plastic off of this. Oh, that was quite easy. A bit like the plot. So I'm gonna chuck this into the 4K player, have a look at the Blu-ray, see what it's like, and then have a look at that 4K, and maybe I'll be able to do a three-way comparison video. We'll have a look. I'll be right back. Alright, so that was interesting, wasn't it? I watched this. I watched the whole thing actually. I wasn't just going to watch little bits and compare it to the Blu-ray. I wanted to watch the whole thing because I haven't actually seen this since it was in the cinema, so I thought I'm going to watch it all. So that's what I did. I seem to think for some reason that on the 4K disc you were going to get the 4K version of the film and the 4K version of the film in high frame rate as well. There isn't both, just to note that. It is only in high frame rate. So if you don't like high frame rate, I wouldn't suggest getting this in 4K because there isn't a normal frame rate version on here. It's just the high frame rate. Yeah, so this was the first time I've ever seen a 4K film in high frame rate on my TV, and it was a very unique experience, I think is the best way to put that. There are so many parts of the film where you wouldn't even know that the film was shot in high frame rate. You wouldn't even be able to tell. You just wouldn't. It would just be like, oh, you're watching an amazing looking 4K picture, an amazing looking picture filled with HDR and bright colours, skin details, skin tones, black details, black tones. Everything about this film looks absolutely amazing. There is nothing wrong with the 4K side of this whatsoever. Granted, yeah, the story is a little bit generic, and you're pretty sure that from about 5 minutes into the film you're probably going to be able to say what happens at the end, but I don't hold that against it. There's nothing wrong with a generic story. So when it gets to certain parts of the film though, especially in distant shots, you can tell the high frame rate is there. It's almost like they filmed the background first and then they filmed everything in front of the camera second and put the images on top of each other. That's what I feel like it does to me. Every now and then it looks like the image in front has separated from the images behind it, almost like you can see the actors standing in front of a green screen, but you know, not quite as bad as if you saw an actor standing in front of a green screen in a 90s movie. If you're interested in what a film in high frame rate looks like, this will be a good example because it shows you the amazing side of high frame rate, and it also shows you the slightly off-putting side of high frame rate as well. But all in all, it was a good package for me personally, because I've never bought a film in high frame rate before, and allegedly this is the only 4K movie that you can get in high frame rate. I might be wrong about that. I know that The Hobbit was shot in high frame rate, but then when they put that onto the 4K disc, that's just a normal frame rate, so maybe they wanted to try something different with this one. I don't know. I might have to do a little bit of research and see if there are any other high frame rate films that you could see as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that's enough about Gemini Man. I don't really need to tell you what the story's about. You could just watch the trailer and you could probably know what the whole story is going to be like. So this by the way, the de-aged CGI Will Smith actually looks pretty good in 4K too. So if you're a bit like, ugh, I don't like de-aged CGI, it looks really bad, it still looks really good in this. I mean, his skin tones look a little bit more smoothed out in the younger version of himself, because when you see closer details of the older version of himself, you can tell that obviously it's a real person and not CGI. So it depends how you look at it, really. So that's it for today. Enough about Gemini Man. I'll be back with another video later on, so you'll see me again soon. Yeah, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, that'd be amazing, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, goodbye.